if you are independently responsible for generating your income, which means that you've got to hunt and kill what you eat. And if you don't kill, you don't eat. That makes you an entrepreneur in my book.
Mm,
And so anybody that is in commission sales is in fact an entrepreneur. Quite frankly, everybody in life is an entrepreneur. You
right.
are self-directed for your life. When you came out of the gate, you could say, if we are going to call the beautiful thing that is the womb of our mother a gate. But as soon as you came out of that gate, you're on your own in terms of creating and designing the life that you're ultimately going to lead. That is the basic definition of an entrepreneur. So now sales, and when people first step into entrepreneurship, the mistake that they make is they're excited, right? A new opportunity, a new frontier where they're going to change their life, change their future. And the mistake is they expect everyone around them to be excited for them. And the reality is that when you leave the 90%, you got to remember 90% of the people take a paycheck and are just working for their pension. When you leave that herd of the 90%, the herd turns on you. Simply put, when you stop being like other people stop liking you. And so
Mm,
what happens is that people can look at those that appear on the cover of Success Magazine or on Bluebird's Icon show and go, oh, well, those people, they went to Harvard, came from the right families, they were lucky or whatever. It's easy to excuse themselves when it's somebody, who's on the cover of a famous magazine. But when somebody in their own peer group, maybe even somebody within their own family, breaks out from the herd and goes on and becomes an entrepreneur and becomes successful, that eliminates all their excuses. And what happens is that even if these people love you and they care for you and they want the best for you, their ego doesn't. And their ego unconsciously becomes vengeful. And so tactics like innuendo or doubt, ridicule, mockery, sarcasm, scorn, sneering, belittlement, humiliation, jeering, taunting, teasing, and dozens of other ways, it's much easier for them to try to break your spirit and kill your dream than it is to break out from the herd and join and follow you. And so that's number one. The other thing is just they're just not as courageous as you. They don't have the same courage to leave the corporate bosom. It goes back to a quote that I love from Gandhi. He said, people will first ignore you and then they will laugh at you. And then if you persist further, if you continue to walk away from the herd, now they will fight you and ultimately you will win. And if you look at the great people of history who have pushed human progress, like Gandhi, like Martin Luther King, like Jesus of Nazareth, like Steve Jobs. I mean, all those that you can point to, they went through that same evolution where first people ignored him. Oh, yeah, you said you were going to change your life the last time. I remember the last company you joined or the last business that you started, the last diet. Yeah. And then when you keep persisting further, you keep going to the gym, you keep making progress on your business, you keep championing this revolutionary idea. Now they start laughing at you and mocking you and sneering and so forth. And then if you actually start becoming successful and you're showing up to the family reunion successful, now they fight you, or the marketplace fights you, or society or culture now fights you. But then ultimately you win. And so just those that step out of the herd, they just have to be prepared for that journey. And that's the emotional journey that people are going to have to go through to get on the other side of success as an entrepreneur. And quite frankly, success in life. Everybody thinks that successful people are popular. It's exactly the opposite. The more successful you are, the fewer people will like you. They might envy you, and they might even praise you in some cases, but they don't like you because you make them feel bad about themselves. Now, you don't do it, but your example of what's possible, your proof that it can be done, makes them feel bad about themselves. And so it is just one of those things that you have to accept as part of the process. I actually see it as evidence of progress, because the higher you climb up on the ladder of success, the fewer and fewer people will like you. I remember when I had this epiphany, I was watching the election come down and Barack Obama won by a slight margin, right? It was just barely 51%. And I remember at that moment, I realized why I wasn't more successful. And the reality was I came to was too many people like me. I mean, if I walk into a room, maybe 2-3%, I don't know, but let's go 10, maybe 10% of the people don't like me. If Barack Obama walks into any room in America, now we're talking about his own countrymen, any room in America, more than half the people don't like him. And maybe today it could be more. But even at the night of that election, when he's waving to the crowd with his family and the Chicago sky and this great celebration that our new president deemed victorious and so forth, still half the people were mad and upset that he won. And that's arguably the most powerful human being on the planet. And so the higher you climb, the fewer and fewer people will like you. So just know that that's part of the journey. You are shaking things up. You are pushing human progress. Dogs don't bark at parked cars, right? So if you're moving is when you stir up the dogs and they start chasing you down the road, mad as heck, right? So that's just part of the journey, and part of what you will face is the price of success, essentially.